here with Brett Richison with FenceTrac Fence Systems, and we're excited to kind of get to know a little bit more about what you do. I know you're in fencing, of course, but you kind of do things a little differently. You have a track system. So why don't you kind of tell us about how that got started and kind of explain to us, what that is.
Absolutely. So I grew up in the fence industry. My grandfather owned a fence company and my father worked for him. And then when my father was about age 20, he started his own company. And then out of high school, or even actually the summers before that, I was building fence with my father. And so I grew up in the industry, and we started FenceTrac in 2012, but we had this idea in 2011. And one thing we noticed through all the years of installing fences is that after we had put up a really good looking fence, it looked great for about 2 or 3 years. And if you didn't sustain it or maintain it, it would start kind of looking pretty rough. And then a lot of the materials would warp or twist, and we'd always be getting called out for gate adjustments. And we noticed that whenever we would do an ornamental iron, so something made out of metal or steel, we never got those callbacks, or if you drove by 10 years later, it still looked pretty good. And so we were like, something's got to change. My father actually said, Brett, I'm tired of all these gate adjustments, and it's kind of embarrassing when you put your sign on something and you drive by 3 years later and it's all gray, and so it just doesn't look as good as it did whenever we first installed it. And he said, we need to come up with something. So he threw a couple ideas out there, and then I said, well, why don't we do like a giant metal picture frame, where it basically, there's no welding. You use self-tapping screws or self-drilling screws to attach these side tracks or side channels to a post. We can use metal post, and then you bolt on the bottom, and then you put whatever your choice of boards, we call it infill, which could be, you could put wood, composite, vinyl, and then you put the top on last, kind of like a Connect 4 game, and you've got a real simple system that looks really good on both sides. He kind of threw up a few panels and stood back and went, wow, I think we got something here. And we ended up getting a hold of a patent attorney and tried to get a patent going on it, and we finally got that going. It took about 3 years to get a patent on it, and we started going to FenceTrac and showing it off shortly after that. What's really neat about FenceTrac, though, is you can kind of be your own designer. You can stack the infill or boards in there horizontal sideways, or you can stack them vertical, more of a traditional look. We found out that you can put things like bamboo in there, wire. You can just get real creative with the frame, as long as it's up to, our frame will fit up to 1 inch thick material.
What were the early days like?
What we decided to do is, since my father and grandfather owned fence companies, we talked them into trying to sell some in the local area. And so it took a while, because one thing that I would say is it's not a negative, but it's a challenge, is that we found out that by the time you do all this metal around, the price point is much higher than your standard wood fence. It can be 2.5 to 3 times more than your average just basic fence. And so it takes a little more value convincing to the customer of like, hey, this is more money, but this might last forever. It outlasts us, So we got a few sold, and it wasn't very much longer after we went to like a FenceTrac show, we started getting orders out of state. So I remember being real excited when we first got our first local install. That was exciting, but I was really excited when we got to ship something out of Oklahoma. That was a very exciting moment.
How big is your company now, and how many do you kind of go throughout the United States?
Yeah, so we really still just have our main office and warehouse here. We have distributors now, though, that will carry our products. Eagle Fence distributors, they have locations around the country. They're stocking our products. We have a handful of other larger distributors that they're not national distributors, but they have larger companies for that region, and they stock our products. So it took a while to get there, but building relationships with those guys was awesome. I do have a feeling though that we're about to hit a turning point where we're gonna grow a lot faster. We're starting to get more out there, and we're diversifying with new products. And because of all of that, I think it's gonna double or triple our need for more help. And so I wouldn't doubt in the next few years we grow quite a bit more just because of all the new products we're working on and stuff.
So what are your future plans and goals for the company?
Starting to get more customers ask us for things that we wish we had, or and that's what's kind of made us want to diversify. So we're gonna start getting into like railing, and what I mean by that is like handrail, or things you can see through. We've got some welded wire products that we're doing, but we're not just doing what everyone else is doing. I'm putting a twist on everything. I'm adding versatility and ease of installation. I'm trying to take something that exists in the market already and make it better and more versatile. So all our new products we're coming out with I think are pretty similar to our first fence frame that was kind of revolutionary and game changing. I think all these products will be too.
Appreciate you visiting with us today. It's really interesting learning about your company. Good luck with everything and everything you're trying to do in the future.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate it.